Welcome to the 2009 Bahamas Weather Conference web channel.
To get ready for a hurricane, I like to tell people to do three things. And the first thing is to develop a communications plan for your family. And that really means having every family member know who that emergency contact is. That emergency contact can be somebody from outside your community. So if the family does get separated, they can always check in with that emergency contact. Number two, you need to know your vulnerability to all the hazards of the hurricane, whether it's storm surge, wind, tornadoes, or rainfall. And the most important thing there is to know if you're in an evacuation zone or not. If you are in one of the evacuation zones, you need to know exactly where you go to reach safe shelter and how you'll get there. And then number three is to create your own disaster supply kit. And you'll want to have this kit in place whether you evacuate or shelter in place. You'll want to make sure that you have all your records on hand and hopefully in a waterproof container. That would include insurance records, legal and medical records, your bank account information. Cash is also important to have on hand. Remember, the ATMs are not going to be working, so you'll want to have plenty of cash before the hurricane even gets close. Rain gear is another thing. You may be without power for a long, long time. You may be without air conditioning, and if you're working outside on repairing your home, you'll want to have ponchos with you. Lighting, the light is also important. Everybody needs to have flashlights and batteries to go along with the flashlights. There are also some solar-powered lights out there, and I personally have a solar-powered lantern that I charge up in the daytime, then I bring it inside and use it as a night light when I come in at night. Personal hygiene items are critical. You'll want to have those on hand, and again, you want to have these with you whether you evacuate to a shelter or to a friend's home or to a motel, or if you stay in place and ride the hurricane out in your own home. You'll want to have paper plates, paper cups, eating utensils. These are things that you can have on hand well in advance in your supply kit. You'll need to have plenty of food on hand, and these typically need to be items that you don't have to refrigerate if the power's out for extended periods. You'll want to have cereal and snack bars and crackers and cookies, and of course you'll want to have canned goods and a manual can opener. If the power's out, those electric can openers are not going to work. One of the reasons that people don't evacuate, I've heard over and over, is the fact that many public shelters don't take pets. Your pet is a member of your family, and you want to be sure that you plan for them in advance too. You want to have plenty of food and water for your pet. Water is the most critical item of all. We like to tell people to have 1 gallon of water per person for 3 to 7 days. Now, if you have a large family, that's a lot of water to have on hand. There are now some containers on the market that you can buy to put up to about 5 gallons in these containers in your sink. You can also buy containers that fit in your bathtub that hold up to about 65 gallons of water. That's a wonderful idea because in the past people have filled up their bathtubs, and of course if you have young children in the house, that's always a concern there. So I highly recommend these containers for storing water. Then you don't have to have as much in your garage in advance. Ziploc bags are a very, very handy item to have on hand, and bleach. You can use the bleach to help sanitize water if the water system is not operable. You can put a little bit of bleach in a gallon jug of water, but you want to be sure you know how much to put in and use that very, very carefully. If you're going to a shelter, you want to take your bedding material with you, a sleeping bag or blankets and pillows. Don't forget the babies. If you have babies in your family, you'll want to have plenty of baby food on hand. If the power goes out, you still want to be connected and find out what's going on in your community. You want to keep up with the latest that your local officials were telling you. And if the TV is not working, the only thing left there is really the radio. You want to have a battery-operated radio, and you'll want to have plenty of batteries for that radio. The battle against the hurricane is really one outside the hurricane season.